Hey everyone, welcome to Find Your Flow. I'm Natalie and you're watching hands-free yoga. So this is great if you struggle to weight bear on the wrists or the hands. You might have arthritis, carpal tunnel, a wrist injury, hand injury, anything at all. You could even be in a cast up to here. But this one will be great for you. So hop into something super comfy and I'll meet you on the mat. Hey everyone, so coming to find a comfortable seat either on the earth or on your props like I'm using here. And for this practice, other than needing something to sit up on that I always recommend, but it is of course your choice, it would be helpful if we had something we could use as an alternative at home to a brick. So grab something if you haven't already got that, and then whenever you're ready, we are going to find our comfortable space wherever we are. Lovely long spine, really root down to the ground and feel the support from where you are. Just closing the eyes, softening the gaze, and just starting to breathe with intention and awareness. And notice how the breath feels today. Is it quite short and shallow? Is it quite long and deep? There's no right or wrong, just become aware of it and notice. And then on your next in-breath, you can keep the eyes closed. Just bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears. And as you exhale, float them round and back down, twice more. Inhaling to roll slightly forwards and up now. Exhale, round and back once more. Gorgeous. And then 3 times in the opposite direction. So floating up, forwards and round and back. Whenever you're ready, coming back to find stillness. And then taking the gaze over to the right side. Bringing it down towards the ground. And slowly, mindfully moving over to the left. And up to the sky, and then send your circle whenever you're ready in your own time round the opposite way. And if you are hearing lots of pops and locks and clicks, that's okay, as long as we feel fine here. Just embrace them and come back to center when you've finished. Notice where you feel your breath the most. Where is this anchor within your body? It can keep you grounded to this space and this present moment. Everybody start to place their hands there. Perhaps it's the stomach, the ribs, the chest, shoulders. Just listen in and come to find 3 more full long breaths. Releasing the arms, flutter the eyes open and smile. Nice. So jumping in, we are going to bring the right leg in front of the left. So we're still on this cross-legged position here, but with one leg in front of the other rather than the ankles crossing over. And keeping this nice length and awareness and integrity in the spine. On your in-breath, floating the fingertips back like airplane wings, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze. And on your out-breath, curling the chin towards the chest, round through the spine, palms float together. Doing this 2 more times. Really notice the movement that we're finding in the spine. Nice. Keep moving here. And then whenever you've finished, come back to center and bring the left leg in front. So one side will normally feel a little bit more different, a little bit stranger than the other. Make sure we're still rooting down in the lower body into our support beneath us. And then we're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right leg and float the right hand behind us. But instead of coming down to the ground and like cranking into this twist, because we're particularly being really kind to the wrists and hands today, we're going to keep this nice and open. So the right hand just reaches back, and again, we're not looking to muscle into this and put pressure anywhere. Just float the ribcage around to the right as far as feels comfortable. Keep lengthening tall on your inhale. Exhale, maybe explore a little more of a twist. Just playing with this natural range of motion we have, and then coming back to center onto the other side. Right hand to the outer side of the left leg, left hand all the way behind. Experiencing this rotation through our thoracic spine, so right here, and the ribs. Inhaling to lift taller, exhale to twist. One more breath before floating all the way back to center, lifting ourselves off our support and bringing our tailbone to the ground. And rocking a little bit further back so our toes can come to the ground. But keeping this length through the spine, we have a few options here as we are going to connect to our deep abdominal muscles in our center. You can bring the hands lightly behind the hamstring space and just use the fingers to hold on. Or we can reach the arms forwards. Notice where your practice is today. And first option is lifting one leg and then the other leg. So one shin becomes parallel to the sky. The next option is lifting both legs. And maybe today or one day we lengthen the legs, but take whatever you need to today, be where you are. Can we find a little more space between our shoulders and our earlobes? So quite often then they like to creep up near towards each other. So really being aware of this as we lengthen. And remember, we can still be playing with both sets of toes on the ground. Just connect to your breath. And then everybody, wherever the legs are, bring the palms together, thumbs towards the heart space. We're going to lengthen the right leg as we twist over towards the left side. And then lengthen the left leg and twist over towards the right side. If the feet are on the ground, again, just keep moving here and twisting from side to side. Nice, working with the breath, keeping our nice smooth inhales and exhales. And then coming one more time to each side. Lovely, floating back to the ground, reaching the arms out in front and nice and slowly rolling the lower back, the middle back and the upper back one by one onto the ground. Nice. You can always use the elbows and forearms if we need to. When we get there, just hug the knees in and rock gently from side to side. Going all the way back and taking the knees out wide and then around in a lovely circle. So quite often we use the hands here to guide the knees, but we don't really need to. So just notice how this feels. It might feel very different or not so different. We're just exploring our natural range of motion instead, rather than using the hands as this guide to sometimes push the knees around. So sending your circles in the opposite direction. Keeping the shoulders soft, neck long. One more circle here. Before coming down, bringing the feet to the earth, hands down by our sides. And as we root down through the feet, we'll just keep the hands nice and soft. So really root down and ground through the soles of both feet, keeping each of the toes on the earth. Floating, this time the tailbone off the ground. The lower back, the mid back, the upper back, lifting the hips towards the sky and our 2-foot support, and then rolling all the way back down. Can we really imagine as we roll up and down here, our spine moving as individual parts rather than one big sort of flat pancake that just flips up and down. Nice, one more time. Really grounding down through the feet to rise up. Gorgeous. And whenever you have finished, coming back and sending the right leg towards the sky. Now if we have a yoga strap here or a tie or a belt, we can use it here to bring around the center of the right foot, or we can simply keep the hands down by our sides or use the fingers just to lightly add a little bit of resistance to this practice, to this posture. And making sure we're keeping the right toes towards the face as we just send a little bit more space and love to the back of the legs. And then letting go of the hands or your strap and just circling the ankle in one direction and in the opposite direction. Releasing the right leg down, lifting the left leg up, finding the same thing on the other side. So perhaps we use the hands to lightly bring the toes a little bit closer towards the face, keeping the foot nice and active. Be mindful that we aren't lifting our lower back and bottom off the ground, so really keeping this rooted. Just exploring a little bit more room through the hammy, the back of the knee, the calf, all of this space. One more breath here. And releasing, circling the ankle all the way around, one direction and the other direction. Nice. And as we release, we'll send both legs nice and long. And reach the arms all the way behind us. So taking a nice big inhale, reach your way through the heels and the fingertips. And exhale, release slightly, 2 more times. Inhaling to reach as far as we can. Allow the lower back to arch off if it wants to here. And releasing once more. Gorgeous. I have a couple of options to make our way up onto the ground. So we might like to bring the fingertips behind the hamstrings just for support, curl the chin to the chest and start to rock and roll all the way up, finding a bit of momentum. Or maybe we just roll onto our right side and lightly press into the earth to lift up. Wherever we are and however we choose to rise from the ground, we are going to meet in a forward fold at the back of the mat. So depending on what wrist issues you have, this could be a little more challenging. So really make sure that you take it nice and steady at your own pace and just do whatever feels good. The meeting in our forward fold with our feet hips distance apart. This lovely bend in the knees. Root down through each of the toes. Allow the arms to be soft and heavy. And rock from side to side. And coming back to center on your next inhale, lift up halfway. Find a flat back with the fingertips reaching behind like little airplane wings. A lovely long line from your tailbone to the crown of your head. And releasing, folding forwards. Swaying over to the left and over to the right. And the next time we go over to the left, lead with the right elbow. Reaching all the way up to standing. Hands float towards the sky, and then imagine our hands are paint brushes as we paint the wall in front of us, folding back down. Rolling to the right, rolling to the left. Next time we roll to the right, lead with the left elbow. Reach for the sky, get your paint brushes on your palms, and fold all the way forwards. Nice. This time we'll roll the chin towards the chest and come all the way up to standing, nice and slowly. Reach for the sky, spreading our wings, and then palms float together at the heart. Taking a nice breath in mountain pose. Lovely breath out. And reaching the fingertips back towards the sky. Reaching nice and tall through the spine and finding a really small bend backwards. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing, and sending the hands either side of the torso. Reaching the right hand down the right leg. We'll float the left hand up towards the sky, but brushing it over the ribs, over the side body, and then all the way up. And imagine that we have some heavy shopping bags in the right hand. So they're really weighing us down to one side. Keeping our hips down nice and sturdy so we're not just collapsing into one side. Taking a lovely breath in. And as we breathe out, back to center. And onto the other side, taking our shopping bags into the left hand. And reaching the right hand, tracing it across the body before folding over slightly. Nice. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing. Sending the hands to the sitting bones behind us now. Taking a breath in, and as we exhale, send the sitting bones behind us as we bend the knees. And keep the knees tracking over the toes. So if they're splaying in or out, can you be aware of this? Nice line from our hips down our thighs to our knees, shins, ankles, and feet. And imagine here that we're sitting back in a chair that isn't there. So our glutes are starting to fire up, as are our thighs. Bringing the palms together at the heart will lengthen through the spine a little more. A lovely long neck, really feeling the weight spread evenly through all sides of both feet. One more breath here. And as we exhale, twisting over to the left side, so keeping our lower body where it is, as we take the right hand down, left hand towards the sky, nice open twist here. Breathing in, breathing out, floating through center and onto the other side, keeping the knees bent. Left hand to the outer right thigh, right hand reaches. Taking a lovely breath in and out, coming back to center and rising, lengthening the legs, just wiggling the hips out here. Coming back to our mountain pose and stepping the right foot forwards, taking our stance nice and wide, so we're turning the left toes out. And my feet are as wide as my mat, and if this doesn't feel good for you, you can bring them a little bit closer together, but I really encourage this lovely wide stance, so we can find some stability in the body and some space around the lower back and sacrum area. So front toes track forwards, front knee bends over the front ankle, and with our back toes turning out, we're spiraling the thigh forwards. So our hips travel towards the front of our mat, but we don't need to have them square, so just really find this internal rotation in the thigh as we reach the arms and find a warrior one. Softening the shoulders from beneath the ears. Growing even taller through the fingertips, one more breath. And then softening the fingers onto the shoulders. Just start to wake up the shoulder space, rolling the elbows round and back. And in the opposite direction. Nice. And then reaching the hands back for the sky into our warrior one. Before bringing the hands down onto the hips, straightening through the front leg. So it's straight but not locking it into the joint. And keeping this length that we found through the spine, as we start to lengthen even more and fold forwards, hinging from the hips. Keep this back thigh spiraling forwards, pelvis nice and level. And as soon as our spine starts to round, that's where we stay. So if we're here, can we lift up a little higher and keep this lift in the heart? So in our pyramid pose, we might like to find a variation in the arms, perhaps hands together. Wherever we are, finding one more breath. And lifting back up, stepping the right leg straight back, mountain pose, bringing the chin down towards the chest as we roll into our fold. Inhale to lift up halfway, finding a flat back. Exhale to release, rooting down to rise all the way up. And we're going to find our warrior one on the other side. So stepping the left foot forwards, turning the right toes out slightly. And set up with your front knee nice and bent, back thigh spiraling forwards and reaching the arms. And really noticing that we're grounding and rooting down through all sides of both feet. Each of our toes are on the earth. Can we really use the stability here to help us within our practice? Finding one more inhale and exhale before bringing the hands onto the shoulders and finding these lovely circles, really exaggerating this circle with the elbows as we find a little more space. And if you're hearing lots of pops and locks, awesome, great, roll with it and reverse this in the opposite direction. Make sure we're still breathing. Before reaching the fingertips back to the sky, warrior one. Exhaling, floating the hands to the hips as we straighten through the front leg. Really making sure we aren't locking into that knee joint and finding that micro bend. Reaching even taller. The main thing we want to do here is reach through the spine as we hinge into our pyramid pose. Back thigh spiraling forward still, internally rotating. And notice we might have more space or less space on this side, so just be present with exactly what you feel. Perhaps the hands float together, keeping everything soft in the wrist space. Breathing in, breathing out, finding one more breath before bending the front knee and stepping all the way back. Forward fold, rounding the chin towards the chest and rolling all the way down. On your inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale to release. Rooting down to rise up all the way to standing. Hands reach towards the sky, palms together, down at the heart. Send our sitting bones back, coming to find our chair pose. And then twisting over to the left side. So keeping the palms together this time, making sure the knees don't move from where they are as we explore a little bit more of a twist through the center. And if this doesn't feel good, we can come to find our open twist again. Just find one more breath here before floating through center and onto the other side. Twist to the right. Nice. Option to keep our open twist. Listen to where there's space. Coming all the way back to center, finding two more breaths in your chair pose. Option to lift off the heels onto the toes. Sit back a little lower. Smiling, breathing, and then releasing. Nice. Just wiggle the hips, wiggle the legs, and come back to your mountain pose. Stepping the right foot forwards, turning the left toes out, setting up for our warrior one again. Finding our little flow here and adding on. So spiraling the back thigh forwards, hands reach for the sky. This time, soften the elbows and find cactus arms. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Be aware of this space that we're finding as we take a breath in. And breath out, straightening through the front leg, hands to the hips. Keep growing and folding into our pyramid pose. Option If you have your brick equivalent, to bring it here to the inside of the right foot. And then we're going to take the right hand down onto our brick and know that we can have it a little bit lower if we want to. If we do have lots of space, I invite you to come down to the ground. Bringing the left hand to the rib cage as the lower body stays still, and we spiral the ribs over to the left side of the mat. Either keeping the hand on the hip or reaching the left hand to the sky, finding Trikonasana triangle pose. There's lots of different things going in here though, so really make sure you take this posture at your own pace. As always, listen to your body. Choose your own adventure. Keep the gaze down to the ground or send it out maybe to the side. And again, this is for if we have lots of space, we can lift up for the sky, but if we feel any tension or pulling, then just bring it straight back down. One more breath here before releasing, lifting all the way up, this time stepping the back foot forwards to meet the front foot, just wiggling it out, shaking everything. And then stepping the right leg back, finding warrior one on the other side. Sending lots and lots of love to our hips today. The lower body, backs of the legs, so spiraling the back thigh forwards, reaching the arms, and finding cactus arms, so bend those elbows. And if the hands are just here and the arms are just, in cactus because that's what I'm telling you to do, can we really put them here with a purpose? So keeping this integrity, this strength, this slight activation through the tops of the arms, the forearms. Finding one more breath here before straightening through that front leg, hands to the hips, jump forwards as we fold, pyramid. Really be mindful of the hip space. Ask yourself, can you grow even taller, even longer in the neck and the spine? And then taking your brick, if you have one, bringing the left hand down, right hand to the rib cage. Ribs spiral over to the right side. Hand either on the hip or all the way up. Keeping mindful that we aren't just using this to open our hips, we're keeping the pelvis in line. I know I've rattled on about the pelvis for long enough today, but really notice what happens when we do keep this nice and broad. We send more love to our lower back space. So come to find one more breath here before slowly rising, lifting up and stepping forwards, rolling the chin down towards the chest into a fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, root down to rise all the way up to standing, fingertips float wide and towards the sky, and then releasing. One more time, coming into a fold, hugging opposite hand to opposite elbow if this feels good for us today, and just rolling gently from side to side. Lovely, floating back to center and making your own way down to the ground, lying on our backs. So if we don't want to use the hands, just really maneuver the hips and the legs around. We can use the elbows to help bring us down to the ground. Take your time here, there is no rush. When we do get there, I invite you to bring the feet as wide as the mat and just allow the arms to rest down by your sides. Rolling the right thigh out, the left thigh in, windscreen wipering with the hips. Taking this in your own time, coming onto the other side. And then twice more each way. Just really keep this soft and easy. And coming all the way back. If you haven't finished, don't worry, don't rush. Take your time. And we'll meet reaching both legs out long. And both arms behind us. So just like we did earlier, we're going to do this one time. When you're ready, inhaling to reach away. Really send away actively. Big breath in. Exhale, release the arms. And come to find our final, most precious resting posture. Shavasana. And take a breath in and a breath out of the mouth. Sigh it out. Twice more. Keep this really soft. Notice how you feel. Check in with yourself. Consciously softening and taking any tension away from the physical body. And when we get to the hand, wrist, arm, elbow space, just send extra love to this area. Send so much love, gratitude and appreciation to this space that works so hard for us. And also, thanking yourself for taking the time to practice with love and care today. Either resting the hands where they lie or bringing them together into Anjali Mudra, thumbs towards the heart. Thank you so much for joining me today. And from my heart to yours, Namaste.